Hi guys, my name is Veera. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss about the types of machine learning. How many types of machine learning is there, and that how it's going to normally, like how the type is, which type is going to be for which purpose it's going to use. We'll be seeing over here in detail. One second, guys. I'll be sharing my screen. Normally here, mainly machine learning is of two types normally. Supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Okay. In the supervised, first let us see in detail about this supervised learning. After that, we'll be going about the unsupervised learning. What's the difference over here? What's the difference over here? Let's see. Okay. If we see here, normally in supervised learning, if this is the data, suppose like any other data which is going to, this is an output column, CGPA, IQ, and CGPA, IQ, and any other column. Suppose if we have any other column on the basis of the student's part, right? For example, if we go for the two columns, one second. If we go for the two columns, CGPA and IQ is there. On these two columns, we are predicting the output. Like output is like placed or not placed. So and so we have this data. Already we know machine learning deals with the structured data. So these are output, like one is in the sense, one over here is like placed. 0 over here is like not placed. Not placed. An entire column is like an with the input data with the independent columns of this. These were like independent columns. We know. This is like target column, we know. And whether the student is placed or not, we have to predict this. And also, like in the supervised learning, we'll be having output. In the supervised learning, we'll be having output. Okay. In supervised learning, in supervised learning, output column or output column dependent column or target column. This particular column can be called as an output dependent or target column. Any name you can use. So here in supervised learning, output column will be there. In supervised learning, output column will be there. Output column will be there. Okay. In the supervised learning, output column will be there. And also again, the supervised is also divided into, two types. Again, the supervised learning is also later 2 minutes, guys, we'll see this unsupervised learning after completion of the supervised learning. Again, the supervised learning is also divided into, again, the supervised learning is also divided into two types. Regression, classification. Regression and classification. Okay, in the regression part, if you see, both these having in the supervisor, we know already, we know output column will be there. Okay, in the supervisor already we have discussed, output column will be there. For this both regression classification, here also output will be there, here also output will be there, guys. Don't be confused. Here also output will be there. In the classification also output will be there. Okay. In the regression, you can ask me difference between the regression and classification. I'll show you the difference between the regression problem and classification. First of all, regression. In the regression part, in the regression part, in the regression part, one second, guys. Output column is continuous. In the regression, output column is, in regression, output column is continuous. Continuous in the sense, continuous in the sense, example of continuous data. Age column, age, weight, which cannot be countable, which cannot be countable with hands. With fingers. Okay. This is about the regression part. Like output will be the small problem statement if I take. Small problem statement if I take, suppose here the same thing. For example, in the above problem, like CGPA, IQ, here the package. How much package they got? Like 5 LPA, 6 LPA, 7 LPA, 8 LPA in this way. Like 8.5, 7.5 in the lakhs, it will be like in this way, in this way. 5, for example, 5 means like in this way. Suppose, for example, if you go for any other thing, like suppose which kind of example, sales, for example, sales part, sales column is also continuous column. And not only this, any column if you see which is like an continuous data, that kind of problem statement is related to the regression part. Okay, remember that. And also the above problem statement, this which we have seen, which I have given, this above problem statement which I have given, and also the above problem statement, like which I've explained, this the output call in the classification, in the classification part, output will be like classified. Output will be like classified. Output column will be like classified. Once again, binary classification. Output column over here is like binary classification. Like 1 0 1 0, which we have seen like above CGPA and IQ part. Like this part in classification, output column is like whether student placed or not. Here, placed or not placed. Like 1 in the sense, like suppose consider 1 in the sense placed, and 0 in the sense not placed. So in this way, it's going to be like, okay, it's going to be like, this is the difference between the regression and classification. Later we'll see the algorithms comes under the regression part and the algorithms comes under the classification part. Okay, but now here in this video, like we have seen now itself, till now we have seen the till now we have seen the till now we have seen the supervised learning. In the supervised learning, we're having regression, classification, what exactly regression and what exactly classification is. Classification is. And let's see unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning. Here in this unsupervised learning, there will be no output. There will be no output or target column. In this, above we have seen output column is there. Here in unsupervised learning, there is no output or target column or dependent column. 1 0 1 0 in this way. Sorry. In this way, sorry. Here in this way, it will be not there. There is no target or there is no target or there is no dependent column. For the supervised, there is a target column. Target column will be there. It's going to learn from the data of the data output. Everything it's going to learn. Question answer it's going to learn. Here in the unsupervised learning, only it's going to form into this is one particular group and this is one particular group. It's going to form into clusters. Like how we can see, for example, how it's going to make means nearby the people, it's going to make into the nearby the data. For example, this data is there. This it's going to like this data is there. Nearby, it's going to this all one group. Nearby groups, it's going to make nearby groups, and without output, with that group, if any new data comes with that group, if it is like the rows have made into, if among this, consider having 1,000 rows. Among this 1,000 rows, this will makes groups, 4 or 5 groups. If any new data point comes, that's going to make that data point belongs to which group. This that data point, new data points goes into which group. This exactly works in that way. For example, this is formed into 1,000 rows, like group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4. Suppose these rows, consider having 1,000. Among these 1,000 rows, these way the 4 groups are there. Suppose if any new data comes, it's going to predict in that way. It's going to make whether that new data point goes into which group, goes into that's going to give over here. Like for example, in the CGPA and IQ part, for example, CGPA and IQ only. If you take this CGPA and IQ only, for example, CGPA, IQ, and whether the person is like, for example, uh, CGPA, IQ, for example, like gender column is a suppose. With this CGPA and IQ and gender column, it's going to give like which group, if any new data point comes, to which group that particular data point is belong to. Like people are going to be like good people, study people, and few people are not going to study, and people are average. That's part. If any new data comes, like whether it's going to group one is like good, group one is like good, good people. This is like average study. This is like poor study. In this way, if any new data point comes, that's going to give us like whether it's going to how that person capability we can predict with this. And also like in the normally in the clustering part, like which group it's going to fall in that way. How the calculation part, these all things we'll see later, but like this is like an intro part of this. This is like an intro part. This is like an intro part. This is like an intro part which we have seen about the supervised learning and unsupervised learning and types of supervised learning, regression classification, how the output is classified, and both have the output. In the regression, output will be there. In the in regression also, like in the regression is also like uh, in the regression problem is so sorry supervised. We have the supervised output will be there in the output part. In the supervisor also we have two types, like regression classification. In the regression the output is like continuous, and in the classification the output is like classified. In the unsupervised we don't have the target column. So how it's, if any data comes, how it forms into groups normally with the data itself, and if any new data comes, how it's going to take whether that new data point belongs to which group. In that way, that will be like intro part. Okay. Thank you guys. Please make subscribe to our channel. You'll be getting more interesting videos regarding this particular ML or AI or deep learning or related data analytics, anything. Okay. Thank you guys.